Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome. Good to see you. So I just want to kind of springboard maybe a little bit off of what Senator McGuire and Senator Becker were talking about when it comes to the grid. The governor announced that by 2035 we are not going to have the ability to buy an electric or a gas-fired vehicle in California. Now, first of all, I want to say I don't envy your job because there's a lot of policies that come out of here that I don't know how you're going to meet. So to say that, you know, we need a 5-year plan, we definitely need a 5-year plan, because in 10 to 12 years from now we're going to be charging a heck of a lot of vehicles in California. The estimate is that we're going to need 10 power plants the size of Diablo to power these cars. So I just would like to say to you, you know, and it's frustrating for me as somebody who worked in building power plants when I was younger and understanding how hard it is to get through FERC, how hard it is to get through all the hoops you have to. We had the Northern California line when I was a county supervisor. We tried to get a line brought in from the east, and you know, people don't want power lines in their backyards. It is very difficult. And the CEC says we're going to have these microgrids, that we're going to put batteries in the community. We're going to have solar there. We're going to charge the batteries, and at night we're going to use batteries, and we don't need all this grid. So do you guys, the question I have is, do you coordinate with the CEC on how this is going to happen? Because at the end of the day, we have to have a laid out plan for how we're going to energize this state if we're going to go all electric. And at the same time, we're going to shut down natural gas, electric gas plants in California. I don't see how this is going to happen unless we have a really defined plan of how we're going to get there in 10 years, because this legislature will continue to pass great ideas that have no plan behind them. And so I'm asking you, we have to have a plan or we're not going to get there. And at the end of the day, a third of Californians are in poverty. We have the highest poverty rate in the nation. And these folks that are getting these bills don't care about anything but getting that bill down, because they're suffering of having to shut off their gas or not heat their house or pay their bill versus feeding themselves. So what is the long-term plan? Because we're running out of time soon.
Yeah,
that's question number one. I do have one more, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we are coordinating with the CEC. The joint agency process is very important to achieve the things that you're talking about. The CEC prepares the annual load forecast. And so what we're looking at now is high electrification forecasts. So meaning that CEC takes into account just the things that you're talking about. What about all of this electrification that's happening on our system? That goes into the forecast. We take that forecast and do a planning process together with the 40 load-serving entities who are working to get the supply online through contracts now. You know, as we speak, they're entering into contracts and developing projects to meet the needs of our system. We had, I think, 130 projects in the past year. Is that right? That came online, and luckily, renewable resources right now are very inexpensive compared to past years. So we have solar and wind projects that can be done pretty cheaply. We have farmers who are interested in fallow land, counties that are working on bringing projects to their communities because there's economic development in these projects. So there's a lot of opportunity here. There's also a lot of challenges, and I don't want to minimize it. And absolutely what you're saying, I completely agree with Senator, that this is going to be a very hard road. But we have proven ourselves in California and have done a lot of work to bring new resources online, as well as the work on transmission needed to accommodate it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a new transmission line. It could be an upgrade to an existing line. It could be an upgrade to a substation, so that we're matching capacity on the system together with the projects that they come. So we're looking at a little bit of everything. There are out-of-state wind projects, there are out-of-state solar projects, there are projects here in California that we're focusing on. We brought online, we increased our battery storage capacity numbers by 200% in the past 3 years, from about 2,200 megawatts to 4,400 megawatts. And so, you know, we're seeing great progress. I don't want to minimize the challenges. There are supply chain challenges. There are interconnection challenges. but those are being worked through. And so, and at the same time, we're facing the climate change impacts that will be inevitable and will be even worse if we don't do what we're trying to do. And I know those affect your constituents in your district, Senator, absolutely, with wildfires and intense heat that we expect to see. But there is a lot of progress. We're trying to be thoughtful about it. I think there are always improvements that can be made, and very much appreciate the conversation and hearing your ideas and your concerns.
Well, I would just say that we can dream all we want to dream. We can say we're going to do things, but at the end of the day, we need a plan. And we need a plan for how we're going to actually move this stuff around. And, there's a lot of tax credits that go with solar and wind, and that's all back to somebody's paying the bill. My last question is when you do the credits, like were mentioned, for these folks who are heavily impacted, who pays for that credit? So if somebody gets a $700 bill and there's many programs out there that are offsetting costs for disadvantaged folks, who pays for that? Where does that resource come from? Utilities pay it, or does it get passed off to other ratepayers?
The climate credits let me start with various programs. So low-income programs, those are socialized through other customers. So our low-income customers those programs are spread out among other customers. The climate credit that we mentioned comes from cap and trade revenue. So those are oil companies, emitters of carbon.
So people that are putting gas in their car eventually pay for that? Because every time you put gas in your car, the refinery has to pay some.
True, through the cap and trade program. The programs that have been created by the utilities to deal with this situation that we're seeing with the spike in gas prices, there are some programs that have been created using shareholder dollars, so not ratepayer money. So there's a variety of programs.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.